Welcome to the Blue Streak, where we break down who we are, what we do, and why Miami-Dade Schools Police is your best choice. I'm your host, Executive Officer Jandro Suarez, and today we have Major Lourdes Hodges with 26 years of experience in the department. Uh, Amazing knowledge here, great insight. We've been talking right before the camera, and it's just a plethora of knowledge. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Major Hodges.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for being on the show. Before we get into the nitty gritty, I know she's going to talk about the accreditation process and just overall insight of our department. But before we do that, for the listeners, for our viewers, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into police work, and how did it get started?
So I was born in Cuba, and we emigrated here to the United States in the early 70s. I am a proud product of Miami-Dade County Public Schools, graduate of right down the street, South Miami Senior High. Go Cobras.
Go Cobras.
Go Cobras. And I have been in this community my entire life. And I want to say it was the early 90s. I happened to be doing some shopping at a baby store in the city of Miami, and my sales lady ran inside screaming that someone was trying to steal her car. And I really don't know what came over me, but I said, I can't let that happen. I ran outside, and there was actually a man in her car at that time, old school, trying to hotwire the car to get it started. And when she ran in to get help from the store manager, I just grabbed him by the back of the t-shirt, threw him on the ground, and kind of held him down until I got some help. And when the city of Miami got there to take the report, they were like, hey, have you ever thought about maybe a career in law enforcement? And that was it. That kind of planted the bug. And from there on, it was just a matter of getting on with the department.
That's awesome.
26 years later, yeah.
That's incredible. Did they write you a letter of recommendation right there?
Actually, no, but they tried to hire me. That when I graduated from the academy, I was sponsored by school police, and I graduated pretty top of my class. And the same day of graduation, I was approached at a little sidebar. They said, hey, if you want to come over to the city. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stick where I'm at because I'm loyal to the people that were loyal to me. So again, 26 years later, here I am.
We're glad you did. We're glad you did to have you here with the department. So let's switch gears for a little bit, and let's talk about the actual accreditation process. What does that mean to the department? What is that?
Accreditation. Okay, so not every single agency is accredited. It's not mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
Accreditation is, we particularly are accredited by the Commission for Law Enforcement Accreditation. And that's an independent review panel. They set what they consider to be industry best practice standards. And then we adapt our policies and procedures to those standards. So if we meet all of their expectations, then we become accredited. I can proudly say we've been accredited since 2015. Every 4 years, 3 years, we have to reaccredit. So we did 2015, 19, 2022, and we're currently at the tail end of this accreditation cycle. It's a process. It's a very tedious process. It requires a lot of updating and reevaluating and refocusing and fine-tuning every one of our policies to be consistent with those industry standards.
And I was there, little baby part of that process today. I saw the auditors in and out of headquarters, and they check everything, right? They're going a thorough checking all our SOPs, our standard operating procedures, and who's doing what. And
they check everything to make sure that what we have on paper is what we're doing on the road. And then they go out on the road and speak to our officers, random officers, and ask them questions to make sure that our officers have the knowledge. And if they don't have the knowledge, know where they can go to get the knowledge, which is why it's so important that our SOPs be reflective of those standards.
And how would that help improve our department? Like, how does that enhance the safety for our?
It's a totality, right? It increases our level of professionalism when you as an officer know exactly where to go for instruction, not just from your supervisor, but that you can pull up an SOP and read what is the practice and exactly word for word what you're supposed to do. It increases your confidence. As an officer, increased confidence means increased ability at work. Right? So our goal is always to make our schools the safest. So we want our officers to have the most knowledge and the most training possible. And accreditation strengthens all of those.
And that's very important because as an officer, you're pretty much operating by yourself. There's not someone constantly watching you. You do your job to your best ability. And if you don't know how to do your job, yes, you could call your supervisor, but you could put up, like you said, a standard operating procedure and know exactly what to do.
Yeah. Our department, because of the changes that have occurred, the traditional squad that you see in other police agencies is not what we have. We have squads, but each officer, pretty much as you said, is independent. So if he can't get a hold of his supervisor or can't get a hold of another officer, he could always go to his SOPs that are accessible on any electronic device, laptop or phone, and get that clarification that he needs.
Yeah, our officers are tied to the schools. They cannot leave the schools. They're
Correct.
Not because of Martin, Stone, and Douglas. They're bell to bell, and they're there. So the only one that has that access to float around is the supervisor and the lieutenants, obviously.
Correct.
So with that being said, what are some of the biggest challenges in maintaining the accreditation? That before camera we were talking that it's easy to lose, right? But very hard to get. So what are the biggest challenges?
It is easy to lose because it's keeping up with every new revision. So every certain amount of time, new standards are either sent or revised. And then it's up to our people, which at this point I have 2 people only, and sometimes there's only one, that are challenged with keeping up with all those changes, right? So it's the minute that those updates come out, they have to look at them, then they have to go back into our SOPs and review and make sure that they match. If they don't, then they have to suggest recommendations for review, and we have to meet with the SOP review committee, change it, and put it up to date. It's tedious, it's time consuming, and because it's so detail oriented, any little detail that we miss could cost us accreditation. So attention to detail is key.
But it's important to have that. I call it a sticker, right? You get a little sticker on your car or wherever.
It's the gold star for doing a good job.
Yeah. But that's important because, again, it shows why Miami-Dade Schools Police is the best choice and why we're so transparent and why the community trusts us.
Professionalism. That sticker shows professionalism. It shows that we are a professionally accredited agency at par with any of the major agencies across the country and in our community as well.
That's a very, very hard job. I'm glad it's you. Before camera, you were telling me that you've been through all of our positions. You've officer, sergeant, lieutenant, and now to major, and you've gone in every area. So all that has helped you with the accreditation process. And seeing all those changes, what do you think is the biggest change that's happened in the department?
I think the biggest change that happened in the department is the fact that our SROs are no longer allowed to move freely about, right? So again, when I started as an officer, I worked South District, but I could leave my school and go and handle calls assisting with Miami-Dade County or Homestead PD or any of the other agencies, and we could help out. So it gave us, we did a lot more street policing, right? And we didn't have officers in every school. Now our policing is more community-oriented policing. Each little school is its own community. I'm sure they said it before. The principal is the mayor and the officer is the sheriff, but that's a community. And so now our officers are doing community-based policing because it's interacting with those students, with that staff, with those family members on a daily basis, and they don't go anywhere. They are there every day. It's challenging to keep the officers motivated because they don't have that ability to have that squad dynamic. But I think it's also very rewarding for them when they see, especially now we just had end of the year graduations, and you get to see kids that you've been mentoring and talking to all year long or for several years graduating and moving on to the next phase of their life. So yeah, it's challenging because you're not running around doing, what we used to do, crazy cop stuff, but it's rewarding because now you're a member of that community, and you get to see that community grow and improve, and also give that peace of mind to parents when they're dropping their kids off at school that you're there. They're putting their children in our hands.
I could definitely relate to that. When I was the officer at Coral Gables Senior, you get those incoming freshmen and they're little knuckleheads, they're just still growing. And then I was able to see them graduate. I was there for 4 years, and when they graduated, they're like, "Thank you, Officer Suarez. You really made a difference." So I could definitely relate to what you're saying. It's a beautiful. I still get like goosebumps because that troublemaker, right? You work with them, and now they're there and they're inviting you to their quinces, they're like to their baseball games, and they want you to be a part of their life. So it's a beautiful thing. And
we are blessed to be able to have that interaction with our kids.
Absolutely. Now, looking forward for the department, what are some of the things that you hope we go into now with technology and everything moving forward? What else can...
Well, I think first of all, the amount of technology that we have now as opposed to when we first started, when I started policing is amazing. Our police communications center is mind-blowing. The things that they can do, the over 20,000 cameras being monitored, GPS on school buses for enhanced safety. that we monitoring all those anonymous reporting platforms. Those things bring a whole other level that we didn't have before. And it also opens the opportunity for officers that are interested in tech to participate, right? Because now we have all these tools also that we can use for enhanced safety. And I want to see the continued growth of the department. I love seeing our presence on social media. It makes us more relatable, that people get to know who we are as people. And then I would also like to see the future. You know, I want to see people, officers like yourself, number one on the sergeant's list, very proud of you.
Thank you.
And see where you're going, you know, and one day, hopefully when I'm sitting on a park bench on a beach somewhere, can look and see, you know, Chief Jandro Suarez and that's it. This is the future. It's mentoring for the future and seeing the growth of the department and hoping that those kids that you had at Coral Park and Coral Gables, actually,
Coral Gables,
my rival, come back as officers or come back with their kids to say hello to you. That's the real future of the agency, is the family growth, continuing family growth.
That's amazing. I mean, there's no better way to just transition to end this. I mean, you said it beautifully, and thank you for those kind words. If there's anything that we did not talk about that you would like to share for our listeners, for our parents, I know our kids are now in the summer, any safety tips or guidance that you would like to share with parents?
I know it's challenging being a parent in today's day and age because of the way that parenting is perceived, but I'm an old school parent, and I would encourage all parents to remember that cell phones, as much as they're wonderful tools, are also can be very dangerous. And so monitor your child's activity on their cell phones, monitor their activity online. You paid for it, it's your phone, it's not theirs, it's yours. You can check it. Make sure that they're operating those technologies in a safe manner and that predators are not trying to reach out to them in that. Encourage outdoor activities, physical fitness, healthy mind, healthy body, and enjoy the summer, but always maintain that positive learning. Let's keep the learning process going for both parents and students, and everybody have a safe, great summer.
I knew she was going to bring that up. She said healthy body, physical fitness. For those of you who don't know, the Major and I, she's very fit. She's, I think, at like a 10% body fat.
You're giving me way too much credit.
10% body fat. She wakes up every morning, 4 a.m., 4:20, and she's the first one in the gym. She's actually opening the gym.
Pretty much where, yeah.
And she's in there working out, always, like you said, keeping that body healthy, keeping the mind sharp. And her office is down the hall from mine. So we share that passion and clean eating and just new workout routines. And of course, cafecito.
Cafecito is the ambrosia.
Absolutely. So again, Major, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Amazing knowledge. I wish we could continue just going on. There's so much in there that I need to absorb.
You know where my office is.
Thank you, Miami Community Newspaper, for the amazing partnership and opportunity to continue working with you.